This is Bay Radio.
As a current single then from Ava Max at Bay Radio for your Wednesday morning, so 3rd of June we're at, and as promised, delighted to welcome Richard Wijeratne from the Xabia International College, or Mr. Widge.
Mr. Widge,
so I've just
absolutely.
found out you.
Yes.
That makes things easier for everybody.
I hope so. No, that's what most people know me by anyway.
But it's good to see you because
Great to see you again.
I saw you just before all of this kicked off here, for want of a better term.
Yes.
And we were doing something, and it said, "How long do you think it'll be? Maybe a couple of weeks."
You're right.
And here we are. 11, 12 weeks later, nearly.
Incredible.
Into lockdown, and of course, the schools heavily affected. And it continues, I suppose. But how's it been? I mean, how much notice did you have when you set up for the lockdown and how things were going to work?
Well, it's very interesting, really, because about a week beforehand, we were looking at what was happening in the Valencian community, what was happening to us, and you could see that at the time it was just pre-FIAS. And you could see that the schools in Valencia had been closed because that's what they do, so that the population can enjoy and celebrate the FIAS. So we had a sort of a bit of an inkling that they may just close us as well in this area, which is exactly what happened. So we had about 5 days of our own notice to react to it. So we did. And what happened was we introduced basically what was through a platform called Google Classroom, what would be like an ongoing lesson program that all of the children would follow each of their lessons of every day, and then they would be able to make contact with their teacher. And that was prepared and pre-planned ahead of the lockdown. We go into lockdown, we have 3 days. That was the Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, because the Thursday, Friday were fiesta days. So we had the 3 days and we ran that program, and it didn't work. We weren't happy with it because the children were doing the work. They weren't in touch with the teacher as much as they should have been. And the teachers were quite frustrated because they couldn't actually get the message across. So, I mean, it was a bit of a shock to the system because then we reacted as a group of management saying, listen, please, members of staff, this is a tough one, but we're going to ask you to be in front of your computers for the entire day, prepare your lessons, and teach through the medium of Google Classroom and through Google Hangout and Google Meet, so that you can meet with your youngsters and you're actually teaching your lesson. To which there was a sort of mild panic, really, because you've got teachers who are young with teachers who have children. They've got their own families that they've got to look after. And I'm coming along and saying, listen, guys, thanks very much for what you're doing, but now I need you all day, every day teaching. Yeah. And all I can say at this moment is the reaction to that was mild panic, but the then reaction over the next 4 days, which were fiesta days when people should have been relaxing, was pure genius, because there are people within the college who supported others, and they were able to put into practice a training program so that staff could then understand exactly how they would be able to put forward a online teaching program where the curriculum would be made available to all of our children every day. So the following Monday, it kicked off, and it hasn't stopped.
Mm-hmm. No, I mean, I have my lockdown bingo card here. I'm about to dub off the word unprecedented, because that's we've never used it so much.
Yes.
Because there can't have been anything in your lifetime that would have, that's been like this and that would have prepared you fully. It wasn't like, okay, folks, this is the day we've all been planning for and building up for. There wasn't that much notice to, as to what was about to happen.
No, Moody, absolutely right. My heart goes out to all schools, because you do your thing, and you prepare, and you try to get better all of the time, because that's what we're in the business, to try and impress our children, win their trust, and do the best we can for them day to day. Doing it face to face is fantastic, because you've got the immediate reaction of a child's eyes when they don't understand something. You've got the smile on their face when they do understand something. You've got the sort of like eureka moment when you come out of a classroom as a member of staff and you think, yeah, I got that. Nailed that. That was brilliant. Well, it's so difficult to do that from a distance, and you can see your children, but it's not quite the same as getting that classroom dynamic. I've been in teaching for 34 years. Sad to say, I wish it was only 20 years, but it is 34 years. You can't get away from it, and I've never seen anything like it. But the reaction to it was fundamentally humbling, really, and I'm not trying to be overly sensational. It was truly humbling. You've got managers, as in Mike Mills, who runs the secondary school, had this nailed off very, very quickly. Steve Jarman in the primary school, who is just a wonderful man who leads his troops so beautifully that they will do so much and so quickly for him. So a little bit of technological support and help from other members of the team helped us to put the program together very quickly. But it is truly quite humbling, and now we're into a process. It's a whole new world, frankly.
Sure. I mean, this is. I suppose if it was going to fall at any time, it's fortunate in a way that it has when the technology is there. I mean, we used to get the snow days at school, and those days when the 100-year-old oil-fired boiler broke down, so there was no heating, and you went home and you couldn't really do anything. They might set you a bit of homework or that sort of thing, but this was in place, albeit with a few teething problems. But presumably, it's got smoothed out as you've gone along.
Well, yes. I mean, one of the great assets we had is that some years ago, the administration in the college, David Garner-Brown at the time, and now, he decided that all pupils from the age of around 7 to 16 would be given a tablet to help them with their preparation in class and their work at home. So having these tools and Google Classroom working as well as it was, and the teachers being fairly conversant with the use of that Google Classroom, it meant that children didn't have the problem. Our children didn't have the problem of not having the facilities at home to be able to talk with their teachers. Mm-hmm. So it was a great thing that happened, but absolutely fundamentally brilliant that it existed for us. So the transition was that much more seamless, really. And the key to this, the absolute key to it being a success, is that you have to engage the children. Otherwise, they switch off. I have 3 boys at home. 3 boys, one 18, one 16, one 14, and they are completely entrenched. They every day they go to school. Mm-hmm. And you get into a routine. Only yesterday I was at a family house where they have 2 children in our secondary school, and Mum jumped up in the middle of the conversation that I was at and said, "Oh, it's the end of the lesson, I must go and make sure they're going into the next lesson." So it's incredible how families have adapted to it as well. It's not just the children having to be in class, it's the families who are really managing the experience as well.
I suppose that's building a bit of discipline in a way, because there's so many distractions at home that if they can get into that sort of thing, because it looks like, as far as general work goes, one of the things two things may remain after this as far as the working from home thing goes, and that requires a bit of discipline to get your hours right and be up and ready as if you are going to work.
Yeah,
I don't know how you see it.
No, it's exactly that. You have to create routines. I enjoy being at work because there is a routine there. Mm-hmm. When we have our summer holidays, they're fantastic to start with, and then you get to a certain time that you think, well, I could do with routine, and I can see my family could do with routine. They probably don't agree with me, but I can see that they would probably do so, and I'm sure that's the same with other families. What you've said is you've nailed it. You need to get into that routine. You need to get into first week or so it was tricky. So what we actually did as a school is we decided that we would help. So every single child has to register for every single lesson. So then that is returned to our centre, and we can see who's not been able to make it to the lessons. Right. So then we can negotiate or speak to the parents and say, look, are you struggling? Is the child struggling? Is it difficult? Because it is psychologically very, very complicated for young people. And they're all individuals, and they're going to find it very difficult to adapt. So we were saying, it's not you're not in lesson, is can we help you? Why is it that you're not in lesson? How is it that we can help you to make the whole experience a little bit easier for you? Sure. And if you take that attitude, then you want to win the young person over and earn their respect to adapt to the whole new program, which people can see is quite exhausting. But once they get into that whole new world, I'm hoping it's a little bit easier for them.
There's something I hadn't thought of. You still take in the register of a morning. How about that?
Every class.
XIC, Xabia International College. Anyone outside of the area, perhaps listening online, the X comes from the Valenciano, Xabia.
That's it.
Okay, so just in case it was confusing one or two folk. But we've talked about how you've coped with lockdown, the way that's developed as far as the home learning goes, which, as you say, some found it tough, some a little bit easier.
Yep.
What about any plans for school returning? It's not going to be this term now, obviously. Will it?
No, well, we've taken the decision that safety, and the health of our community, in school is paramount, and we have to be respectful of the fact that it's still quite dangerous. We want to be respectful of that. So we will continue our online program to the end of this term, and we will have plenty of time to prepare for September. And there are many different eventualities there, but let's just presume that we go back to school. A huge amount of focus has been put on the safety of the children. Their health comes first, their well-being comes first, and that of the staff. I mean, we have to be able to create an environment within which staff feel confident to do the job that they're doing, because a happy member of staff, a confident member of staff, just transmits into a good working relationship. And we are planning very carefully to make sure that what we do in all of our centres, the place is absolutely clean, sterile, ongoing through the days, that the social distancing is available. Mm-hmm. We have small classes anyway. The idea is to keep the group small so that the pressure isn't on the teacher to have to provide lessons and tuition to too many children, which, I'm a teacher and I know how complicated that is, and I know it's stressful. So the smaller the class, the greater opportunity the teacher has to get round all of the children and make their day, which is really what they want to do. So with the smaller classes and a rotational visits to the school, if that should be the way that we go, it means that we're looking at classes of no more than 10 or 12.
Right.
There are certain adaptations we're going to make to the sites, and with that, I'm more than confident that our environment, our community, can be very happy, very secure in sending their children back to school. We miss them. Moody, we just miss them. I mean, it's you don't become a teacher to sit in your kitchen. You become a teacher to be in front of young people and change their life. But looking at current and what happened a little bit earlier on in the lockdown process, young people miss their friends. I see it in my family, and we hear about it in so many different families. And what was really beautiful is talking to a couple of colleagues and some other parents of the primary school at XIC, where the children were up, dressed, ready, breakfasted, cleaned, already in front of their computer or tablet, ready to go, way ahead of the lesson starting, because they couldn't wait to speak to their friends, because this was a way that they could actually meet and speak to their friends. Now that they're relaxing and the lockdown has happened, it means they can see their friends a little bit more. But actually, to be able to make contact is crucial. And also, on top of that, and I have to say this, was sometimes when you look at your WhatsApps on your phone, you think, are you joking? There are 198 WhatsApps. What is that all about? I'd click onto my phone, and it was the school staff talking to each other.
Yeah.
The staff, Moody, have been just phenomenal. And I'm bound to say that as a head. You're just going to expect head teachers to come in and say, gosh, I've got a great team. They are superb. Well, aren't they doing a fantastic job? It is outstanding. They have started, continued, and the energy that they have shown, the compassion they've shown with young people. There have been teachers going to young people's houses to make sure that they are okay, that they are on the right wavelength with it. They are supporting each other. There were some teachers who weren't as technologically astute as others, so immediately they say, how on earth do I do this? There's another teacher comes straight in and helps them immediately, so they don't have the stress of it. The idea is to get through this as a community and de-stress as people as much as possible. If there's a way that young people can meet each other, then that is phenomenal. So in the future, we have got a busy summer ahead of us, because there's work being done on our new secondary school, which is almost, you were going to ask me a question, but it's flying along at a great speed now. I was there yesterday with the head of secondary and the deputy head of secondary, Mike and Gaynor. They are already planning our move. So we're looking at all of the technology that we have to input there, the screens, the touch screens in all of the classrooms, the computers, the networking. That was what I was with the head of technology in XIC yesterday, trying to work through all what we're going to do to be able to make the site work. But the beauty of it is that the site itself, which I can talk to you about at another occasion, but it just flows so nicely. We only want 260 children there. We want a small school that is going to retain the values and intimacy that we have currently, but they will have the expansive areas to work in.
It must be nice to start from scratch, though, going into a new building, rather than adding on to an old one. You think, right, we can go in, can we plan this properly, all the technology in place, as you say.
Yeah.
And here we go. Exciting.
Well, it is exciting because what is particularly exciting is when you see the face of certain teachers who have been there, who have been in XIC for some time, who have, in my opinion, done some incredible work. And I'll be the very first to say, without a facility, with a very basic facility, and they stand and they look at the facility that they will be able to work with and the present that they will be able to give to the children and the young adults that are there, it is you see it in their faces that they're completely inspired. And this is very important, I believe, at this particular time. If you take a step forward and you give the chance to people to shine in an area that they feel inspired, they will take that opportunity. People react very positively to people who give them, who make their day. And I think that's what is key here. You've got a visionary leader in Mike Mills, who is ably supported by his team. He has won the loyalty of that team. It's a small team, it's tight-knit, it works extremely hard. They feed back, and they work very closely together. On Saturday, we will have the opportunity to take the staff to the site so that they can have a look and themselves not just see pictures of it, but actually feel the physical nature of the flow of the place. And that's the key here. It's the site has been designed by teachers, by people who are in education, rather than by an architect who has done it remotely. Mm-hmm. So the whole use of the plot allows young people to be fulfilled in their day, both in the classroom and outside of the classroom.
So that is the new secondary school?
Yeah.
All right, for XIC. So, I mean, overall, this experience then, what has it taught you? There have been a couple of main things that, you will take forward to the future. Yeah, I suppose it has been a steep learning curve.
Very steep, very swift, and actually really useful because I think, whatever age you are, you always have the capacity to learn new things, and there have been many very interesting lessons. You said something a little bit earlier, which is quite interesting. You know, if you're snowed out, or if the school boiler has gone down, or whatever, in Xabia, if you've been here for any length of time, we've had storms, we've had fires, we have had all sorts of minor catastrophes, major catastrophes that have caused schools to close. Now, I'm a fervent believer in keeping schools open where possible. Mm-hmm. However, it's been necessary to close the schools. And now we have the tools to teach those children who are no longer in the school how, a normal day. So we would be saying to you, I'm really sorry, but your children can't come to the school because, it's a red alert and we have to close the schools. However, get on your computers and here we go. So therein is a success story. Another thing that is really interesting is it's extremely rare for people to come to the college and spend some time with us during a taster period. And if they have a taster period with us, they get a real feel for what we're about and what the teachers are investing themselves in. So with that, we've been able to do, as the children who are prospective candidates for joining the college can't actually come to the college, they've been able to drop into our lessons. So they've been doing a week of our online learning or even more.
Right.
So there are people who actually have tasted it and joined, or they've joined and they've then joined the lessons. So their experience of XIC just now is remote learning. They're learning online, and they haven't actually stepped foot into the college yet, but they can get the whole idea of the values and the quality of the teaching that is actually coming through. So going forward, we'll be able to use that. If somebody's in Russia, or if somebody happens to be in Japan or China or France or wherever they are, and they would like to taste the sort of education that we are providing, we can offer that.
Of course, that's a big thing because you are getting people from across the world coming. They'll be making the move here, and they can get a real idea of what goes on.
It is that. Yeah. It is that. And I look at it from a primary school perspective as well. Steve Jarman and his team. Again, I almost don't have the words to congratulate them and to celebrate what they've done, because they've kept up that momentum with little people. These are little children, who are super excited about seeing their friends, but and coming to the class, but they're actually being taught so appropriately by these teachers, engaging them, the excitement of coming to school is a completely different message, to one where you're running into the school, which has been one of the key things of XIC Primary School. It's a lovely place to be. It's a very homely place to be. Now, these young people are at home, but not with us, but they're given that same sort of atmosphere by that outstanding team. And I'd love to name every one of them, but we don't have the time to do that. Mm-hmm. They are fundamentally mega geniuses. I'm an English teacher. I should find a better words than that, right. Actually. But it is something that I will be extremely proud of. And I know that we went into this strong and we went into this prepared, but we will emerge from it fundamentally far stronger and with greater capacity to be able to teach in class, out of class. Our teachers are seeing tools and experiences and abilities that they probably never thought that they had, and now they have. They've gone on a technological roller coaster to get themselves up to where they are and how they do actually teach now. So it's great. It's really wonderful for them.
Well, you have mentioned a few people along the way, but it sounds like just a great team in place as a whole, and you'd be far too humble to take any credit yourself. But I shall say you deserve some, I would think, for getting everyone together and overseeing all of this, I guess, but with your team leaders in place as well.
It's a team all of the time, wherever you work. I think the most important thing is to find the right people and put them in the right places. I believe very strongly that there's a great word that is key to this, and that's loyalty. Mm-hmm. Loyalty to the children from the staff, loyalty to the staff from the children, and equally from management. I want to just say something here that is key to what we do. We are a fairly small school. We have a very simple ethos that we want to put our children front and centre, and that's what everything is built around. None of this could have been possible. None of it could have been possible without the loyalty and the support and the respect that we've had from our parents. We have had so many messages of support and congratulation for the education. It's a tough time. They have reacted so positively, and it's without question. That is the whole situation in a nutshell. If you've got loyal parents who understand it's tricky, it's difficult, but the teachers are trying to do their very best, which they have been, and they've made a difference. And on top of that, there's another thing that's made this whole online process work at XIC, and that is because you have to have an understanding and supportive owner. You have to have that. And we do. And the board that exists there have recognised that. So when it came down to what was going to happen with the temporary redundancies and the ERTE and things like that, we very reluctantly placed people who are not at the coal face with our children on the ERTE. Mm-hmm. Now, those are people like the caretakers, who we love to bits. They're brilliant. They take care. I've been in schools where caretakers certainly don't take care, but these people take care and they love our children, but they couldn't make a difference to our children's lives just now. Certain assistants who are superb in the classroom, superb, but they're actually, the teacher would be delivering the lesson, so we couldn't take advantage of them. No. The other thing that is key here, that is where the owner comes out as understanding the needs of the college, is really important about the team you were talking about. Team comes first, and we've got to get that right. These teachers have reacted so positively. Many of them are new to us. There's about 12 teachers that are new to us. They're great teachers, they've got great experience, but they're new to XIC. Now, in a normal contract, they would finish in June, and that would be it.
Yeah.
And if we liked them and we wanted to have them again, you would take them on in September. Our board, I can't tell you how proud I am that they made the decision to say to these staff, listen, we keep you on. You're part of our team. You're ongoing with us. So we will employ you through July and August. We will pay you through July and August. Your contracts are continued. And you will help us plan and prepare for our next year. Mm-hmm. So it works. You've got to get all of those things together. You've got to make sure that the staff who right now are probably cursing me for what I've asked them to do, but I can't tell them how grateful I am, and I really, truly am. The children, how they've reacted, which will be a memory that they will have and they will talk about for years. This is the thing.
Oh, yeah.
You remember your school days in or out of school. And I say once again, if there are parents of XIC listening, You should be extraordinarily proud. And we can't wait to see you again. We can't wait to see the children. That's really key because that's what we do.
Presumably you're working, with the distance learning up to what would be the end of term anyway. That's this month, yeah?
Yep, it goes through to the 19th of June, and we'll carry on day to day. As we were talking about earlier, I'm a dad, and I have my children at home, and they will work through to the end of their course. I have 2 children who would be doing external examinations, A-level and GCSE, and that has had its own complications. But we found that in the college, those people doing their GCSEs have worked extremely hard because the most important, and their A-level, worked extremely hard in order to fulfil the requirements and produce the levels of work that then can be assessed by the teachers, because the teachers have a professional responsibility here to provide the assessment that would then be grade gathering, and we send it off, that would be the appropriate grades that those young people would get.
Because they're not doing the exam.
Because they're not doing the examinations. And you have these results for the rest of your life.
Yeah.
So you want to get it right. And that's been the message, do not ease off. Stick with it. Give yourself the chance to get the best grade that you possibly can. Universities everybody's going to be reacting to this very unusual situation that we have. However, you need to be able to look at those certificates with pride through your life. And that's been one of the messages that we have been sending out from secondary on this occasion. It's vital that we as a staff can share the appropriate information with the authorities so the children get the grade that they deserve.
Well, normally at this point, I'd say, well, good luck with the new school term and the new school building, but you will talk to us before then. You'll be back in soon, hopefully.
Certainly, we look forward to it, and I have various colleagues that would like to come and talk to you too.
Absolutely.
As well as some families.
All welcome.
Yeah, I just wanted to say one thing. We have talked quite a lot on air over the years. And I've known Andy Stammers and Bay Radio, and this is not a party political broadcast on behalf of Bay Radio, but you're very much involved in the community, and we really appreciate that. As I say, I've known Andy for a long, long time. I like the way that he's trying to think a little bit outside of the box for people during this difficult time, and for that, he has my enormous thanks, and you do too, Moody, and the rest of your team. I know that they're very, very hardworking. Lily downstairs trying to organise what you do for us in the community. So thank you from us as a community to yours, to you here at Bay Radio. Thank you.
Well, thank you. Much appreciated. I think it's like you've said about some of your staff. It's been a challenge for us, which has made it interesting because, coming in doing the day-to-day thing, then suddenly all this, it's given us a new angle on things and, a little bit more exciting perhaps at times.
People need you. They listen to you.
Well, that's what hopefully we've been keeping on top of stuff and putting the real facts out there. No fake news here.
Well, congratulations. Good for you.
Thank you ever so much. We'll speak to you soon.